Back on the MSG 150 at home, presented by Chase, Bill Pito and Michelle Gingras, and it is our pleasure to say hello to former Giants linebacker and current Arizona State assistant coach Antonio Pierce. Antonio, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
I'm good. How you guys doing out there in New York?
We're doing great. How's life in Arizona?
Warm. Sunny and warm.
And it's only May, so get ready.
Trust me, 8 o'clock when it's 80 degrees, you understand why.
Yeah. So you, of course, were on that Giants team that won Super Bowl 42. The Pats had been unbeaten. You guys pulled off that great upset. What do those memories mean to you through this passage of time since that incredible win?
Lifetime moments. You know, there's probably not too many days that goes by that either somebody through social media, through walking through the street, the grocery store, whatever it may be, reminds you of that moment. And it was kind of cool. Actually, about a week and a half ago, pretty much myself, Strahan, Tuck, OC, Fred Robbins, Matthias Kiwanuku, Dave Thompson all jumped on a Zoom meeting similar to this and kind of was reminiscing and throwbacks and talking about the locker room. So, I mean, it's magical moments because it never lives you. I always say this, when you're a champion for life. It's not that one day, it's not that one moment, it's forever.
You mentioned just some of those former teammates and your former Giants teammates. They speak very, very highly of you and your coaching abilities. What's this transition been like for you from player to coach and just knowing what players need to do to be successful because you have truly been there?
Yeah, I mean, it's really been about the same. Because when I was in New York, you know, kind of my deal was, you know, getting guys lined up, pointing different directions, trying to get the audibles correct, trying to hear what the other quarterbacks like Tony Romo were doing, adjustments. So what's the difference when you're coaching? You know, I think the biggest difference in college is just the time restraints. You know, you got 3 to 4.5 hours with those players throughout the day. And then they have the rest of the stuff they have to do, right? Academics, mentoring, tutoring, class, social life, girlfriends, off the field issues. So just to keep them focused for 4.5 hours is probably the biggest challenge you get in college coaching. But it's fun because you're trying to almost live through them to a degree because you remember yourself as a 17 through 21-year-old student athlete dreaming of one day playing the National Football League, and to give them a little tidbits and throw out certain names that half of them can't remember. We got to go on Google half the time and YouTube these guys, but it's really entertaining and fun.
Well, your dream came true, and before you were a Giant, you were a Redskin. You signed with the Giants as a free agent. This offseason, the Giants have signed Blake Martinez, a linebacker from Green Bay. If you had to give him some advice about making the adjustment to New York, what would you tell him?
And be able to handle that media. There's going to be a lot of mics after wins and losses, more after the losses. So just, you know, holding your composure. You know, and the good part about when I first got to New York is I had a Tiki Barber there. You had a Michael Strahan, older guys who had been in a New York metro area for over 10 years and knew how to handle it. So you kind of mimicked what they would do. And for me, it was a huge benefit to have those guys. So if Blake has somebody in that locker room that he feels that he can look to and say, hey, wow, he does a great job of handling the media, that would be my biggest statement to him.
All right, very interesting. So as we transition now, and obviously we're in unprecedented times with the pandemic and not really knowing when football is going to start again and just trying to keep all of your athletes informed and up to date, what's this impact been? How has COVID just completely impacted not just your day-to-day, but the whole outlook of football season right now?
Don't take things for granted. You know, don't take the last practice for granted. For us, it was unique. We had just started spring football. We was in the middle of our practices. Weeks, we had our practice 7, then we took our spring break. I go back to California, kind of hearing about some stuff going on across the world. I think, you know, it's not going to affect the U.S. It's not going to affect Arizona. It's not going to affect the West Coast. And then, boom, you know, everything kind of just hits you at a standstill, and it's shocking to see that you haven't seen your players since then. You haven't been around your coaches and your colleagues since then. And then I think just from a standpoint, you better been pretty good with technology. Because with Zoom and different ways of communication, that's what you got now. And I think it makes it difficult. It makes things come to life and appreciate touch, appreciate the physical aspect of life in general, not just sports, but just being able to shake somebody's hand, just to give them a dap, a love. You know, you don't do that no more. Now it's kind of, you throw a little elbow up there and you high five or ghost high five. Totally different time, something that you're not used to, especially in a team environment.
Now, you're with Herm Edwards. Herm, of course, the head coach. You guys starting your 3rd year on the ASU staff. Herm Edwards, of course, former Jets coach. We assume you are playing to win the games. Terrible impersonation, but you guys have done pretty well so far.
Yeah. And it's funny because that comes up probably once a month from either the opponents, the fans, one of our student athletes, a coach. Somebody's playing that moment in history where Coach made that statement as New York Jets head coach. But I think the best part about being with Coach Edwards is fun. You go to work happy. It's not like being on eggshells. You enjoy the process. Trying to keep up with him. 4:30 in the morning every day in the weight room working out. And here I am, almost 25 years younger than him. And I find myself trying to keep up with an older gentleman who has the energy, the motivation every day to get up and get better. And not only does that make our student athletes better, but it makes our coaches better.
Marvin Lewis also joins the staff as co-defensive coordinator. How much interaction have you been able to have with him? And also kind of on that note, as you mentioned earlier, having to be really good at technology. How have you been able to adapt in this time to still be able to continue as much as business as usual as you can?
Well, me and Marvin go way back. 2002, when I was with the Redskins, he was my defensive coordinator, and then left to become the Cincinnati Bengals head coach. So Marvin's had a different approach when he got to ASU, is that he's always been looking at everything top down. He's a head coach. He's overlooking the organization. Well, now he comes, he's an analyst. And then we throw him in the fire. Now me and him are co-defensive coordinators. And the one thing he wasn't used to was technology. I can tell you that. He's got to get on Twitter to recruit kids. He's got to talk to them on these Zoom meetings. We're having Zoom meetings with our players. I'm running in the office next door trying to get him situated. It's unique, but it's fun. The one thing about Marvin is obviously he's coached some really, really good football teams and players from Pittsburgh to his time in Baltimore, obviously in Washington, Cincinnati. So his football IQ and ability to adjust, adapt, has taught me how to be a better coach. It taught me to be a better player when I played for him. But he just brings this calming approach. Him and Coach Edwards both have it, kind of seen that, done that, been there, done that lifestyle. And I think it makes it unique for our players because he can throw so many different points and avenues and throwbacks to us. And again, we got to bring out the YouTube and the Google for some of these guys. But just like the other day, he was able to get a hold of Terrell Suggs, and we had a Zoom meeting, and he was able to talk to our student athletes, which was a great time for those guys.
Antonio, you had a great pro career. What are some of the challenges of coaching young players that may not have the talent that you had?
Well, I think just coaching kids now is everybody think they're going to be a pro. They don't understand that 1% are 1%ers and how difficult it is and how each and every day is a grind. Each and every day you have to work at your craft some way, somehow. A lot of these guys want to worry about likes and retweets instead of just hard work, blue collar, and just to humble them down. Because you can make yourself a star without being a star through social media. And to keep these guys humble is very challenging at times. But I think the biggest thing that I give them hope. I say, look at me. Look, at the end of the day, everybody knows what I did in my career, but nobody remembers how I started. I was an undrafted rookie. Had to fight my way up on the Redskins roster, fighting 13 linebackers to make the final 6. Very challenging time. So, and then you come to New York and you're around these big figures and stars and personalities, and then you got to kind of mingle with those gentlemen. So to me, it's all about adapting. Marvin Lewis gave me this great book called The Coffee Bean, and I tell my guys, be a coffee bean. Don't be the carrot that gets soft and squishy with pressure. Be the guy that transforms.
All right, well said, Antonio. It's so great to see you. We can't thank you enough for your time, and stay healthy and stay safe, okay? You
guys too, appreciate it. G-Man forever, by the way.
There you go. Antonio Pierce, of course, on a Super Bowl winner. When we come back, Michelle and I will be rejoined by Steve Alakette and Alejandro. We're going to talk about NHL players who have never won championships and how big a deal is that. When we come back on the MSG 150 at Home, presented by Chase after this.